This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
It's against the law to do it, and we enforce the law. We don't violate it, and it makes no sense for anybody to have a quota. The departments don't benefit from that kind of thing.
Ticket quotas are illegal. Then why was a high-ranking state trooper sending an email to his command telling them to issue 2 citations an hour? What is going on? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have more on ticket quotas in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. It has been a week of unspeakable violence in our country, and tonight we don't have to look very far from home. A double murder-suicide here on the Suncoast. A man was shot his wife and their 2 children before turning the gun on himself in Nokomis. Neighbors say an argument between Anthony Isrig and his wife Susan began on the front of their home last night before and turned violent. When deputies arrived at the house on Kenwood Avenue, they found Isrig and his wife and her son Matthew dead inside from gunshots. A daughter was found alive with life-threatening gunshot wounds.
We just put it in drive and floored it. We started weaving, boom, just missed our car and hit that car and just got out and just walked in the house. Saw him come out of the door with the shotgun or rifle or something, and I just took off running.
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office says 17-year-old Joanna Beagle was airlifted to Sarasota Memorial Hospital in critical condition. She is expected to make a full recovery. Tonight, a nation mourns the 59 people who were gunned down in the worst mass shooting in American history. Investigators are piecing together information about what may have sparked the rampage. ABC's Dania Backus has the latest from Las Vegas.
In the midst of chaos, there are stories of heroism and survival.
We went back towards the gunfire and just started looking for priority victims and people with the most serious injuries to get to the hospital.
Tuesday, many of the more than 500 people injured now reliving the terrifying moments. Police say 64-year-old Stephen Paddock sent a barrage of bullets into a crowd of 22,000 concert goers.
When I was running, and when I was holding him and I was looking behind him, there were bodies like everywhere.
In Las Vegas, the grieving continues. Vigils being held across the city for the dozens of people killed in the rampage. Among them, Hannah Eilers, a mother of 3. 23-year-old Jordan McIldoon attending the country music concert with his girlfriend, and Navy veteran Christopher Roybal.
He went to combat and came back without being injured, and goes to a concert and dies.
We're also now getting a first glimpse inside the shooter's Mandalay Bay hotel room. Law enforcement and family members trying to understand what would motivate a one-time accountant and avid gambler with no known criminal record to inflict so much carnage.
Steve had nothing to do with any political organization, religious organization, no white supremacists, nothing.
Investigators say there were more than 40 guns recovered both in Paddock's Nevada home and his Mandalay Bay hotel room, and material used to make explosives were also discovered in his car. Also in that hotel room, a computer and a source says a camera possibly used to record the horrific shooting. Authorities now telling ABC News they're looking closely at Paddock's finances, saying in the last 3 years he's had 200+ reports of large financial transactions. Dania Backus, ABC News, Las Vegas.
After months of back and forth, Manatee County commissioners are giving the go-ahead to Carlos Barouf's controversial Aqua by the Bay project. The Medallion Homes development between El Conquistador Parkway and Sarasota Bay would include more than 2,300 multifamily and 500 single homes. The proposal includes having 16 buildings up to 95 feet.
We have revised the wetland impacts from 13.29 acres to 7.93 acres.
The estuary enhancement area was also removed. Northport police are looking for the thieves who broke into a local business and stole a half a dozen golf carts. It took place at the Caddy Carts and was caught on video by a public security camera. The carts are a hot commodity. They are valued between $8,000 and $10,000 apiece. Half the carts on the lot were owned by individuals who asked Caddy Carts to shelter them during Hurricane Irma. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Northport police. The city of Sarasota is looking at its options on how to make improvements at the Bobby Jones Golf Course. City commissioners are discussing what to do about a consultant's suggested $21 million plan. The upgrades include renovating both courses, adding a new clubhouse, driving range, and more. The only commissioner to vote against it was Hagan Brody.
I grew up playing on Bobby Jones at the golf course there, and I want to make Bobby Jones work. I'm looking for realistic plans that keep Bobby Jones in the public domain. More importantly, keep all of that space as open green space.
After city staff looks at the options, they will be presented to the commission. At least $100 million a year would be set aside for Florida Forever, the state's most prominent land preservation fund, under a measure filed in the state legislature. The proposal would annually designate portions of the state's land acquisition trust fund. In the past, the fund received as much as $300 million a year, but for nearly a decade has fallen out of favor among lawmakers. The bill has drawn praise from environmentalists from across the state.
Oftentimes, when it comes to environmental issues, things have to reach a crisis level before there's forward thinking on it. But we're kind of at that crisis level on multiple fronts. So now's the time for more action by our state legislators.
Since 2001, Florida Forever has been used to purchase more than 718,000 acres for $2.9 billion. Bob, nice day out there.
Pretty nice, windy day too, Alan. You may notice that a wind out of the east and northeast up to 15 to 20, and that's not going away anytime soon either. But we had partly cloudy skies. Temperatures did manage to get into the mid to upper 80s. Not a lot of rain here. You can see that rain activity pretty intense down to our south, although there has been brief showers moving through parts of our viewing area into Arcadia. Wauchula not too long ago, heading off toward Northport. Northport had a brief shower earlier. All that is going to be pretty quick hitters, but they will produce some moderate to heavy rainfall for a short period of time. Also some very gusty winds too, and that's a direct result of a low pressure area developing down to our south near the Florida Straits and high pressure to the north. Currently at the Sarasota Braden Airport, we have 80 degrees and the heat index at 83. That's not a big factor, but east and northeast winds are calming down just a little bit at 17. They have been as high as 21 just about an hour and a half ago, and the pressure 30.07 inches. Down to the south we go to look for the next tropical low, and it looks as though it is developing now in the southwest Caribbean Sea. There's a real good chance that this will become a tropical depression or a tropical storm. Right there is where it is. There's no real centralized area of low pressure at this point, but a deep convection. We have some pretty good outflow, and we're also watching this area right here just to the south and east of Florida. This has a 10% chance developing as it works its way to the west. This one has a 60% chance developing as it works its way toward the northwest. Again, there it is. You can see a little bit of rotation there. Some big time storms developing off the coast of Costa Rica in the north or the southwest Caribbean. So here we go again, Alan. A little secondary peak here in the second week of October is fairly typical.
No mas.
No mas. Finito. Right. No mas. I hear you.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
Right.
And still to come is a recent leaked email evidence some Florida law enforcement agencies have ticket quotas. The story when we come back.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
40 million. That's the number of free phones still available and the number of how many Americans can still get prescriptions free.
Free could be wonderful. That's why I'm still working at 77 years old to pay off my prescriptions.
I needed to have a prescription filled and I had to leave because I couldn't afford it.
Call now and see what's available for you. Free prescriptions. Over 10 million people get prescriptions free, and the program has expanded so another 40 million can. Free dental. Over 15,000 dentists have provided over $330 million in free dental work. Free cell phones. 40 million free cell phones are still available with free minutes and more.
Free cell phone would change my life right now because it is something I cannot afford to get.
Medical supplies like back braces, knee braces, and diabetic supplies may be covered too. The free RX Plus hotline has saved callers over $12 million on their prescription costs. These free programs are now available to 40 million more people. Call now.
Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app.
When you get pulled over at the end of the month, is it a coincidence or are officers trying to meet a quota? The recent leak of an email from the Florida Highway Patrol was an aha moment for many. ABC's Jess Dowdrick has more.
It's a touchy subject for a lot of law enforcement agencies, many of them declining to speak to me about the issue. Now, while there may not be official ticket quotas for most departments, officers may still be feeling the pressure to write more tickets.
It's a known fact that we don't have a quota system.
Florida Highway Patrol has been on damage control since August, when an email from Major Mark Welch was leaked to the public. The email told troopers, quote, "The patrol wants to see 2 citations each hour." It went on to say, "This is not a quota. It is what we are asking you to do to support this important initiative." Welch attached a report that showed that troopers were only issuing an average of 1 ticket an hour, saying, quote, "We have a goal to reach." Welch and another trooper then took early retirements. A third member of FHP was suspended for 3 days. The whole organization taking criticism ever since, with the executive director of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles defending the department.
They have never been disciplined. They have never been evaluated. There's been no punitive damage. They've never been rewarded for strictly writing citations. They know that they have a job to do because their job is public safety, and our job is to go out and save lives.
It brings the question to the forefront. Do local law enforcement officers have quotas to meet? Many law enforcement agencies declined to comment on the issue, including Sarasota Police Department and the Sarasota Sheriff's Office. Both agencies say they do not have quotas. Having a quota is actually illegal in the state of Florida.
The state over a decade ago addressed this with the Waldo law and indicated that state agencies and others were not permitted to establish citation quotas or anything like that. So we've never had that policy here. We just don't do that.
The Waldo bill was passed in 2015 after the Waldo Police Department, formerly stationed northeast of Gainesville, disclosed their quota system that accounted for half of the city of Waldo's revenue. Longboat Key Police Chief Peter Cumming oversees 20 officers. He says his department never has and never will have a quota system.
It's against the law to do it, and we enforce the law. We don't violate it, and it makes no sense for anybody to have a quota. The departments don't benefit from that kind of thing.
Chief Cumming has been in law enforcement for years, formerly working for the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office and the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. He's also traveled throughout his career, seeing many other departments. Cumming says he doesn't remember any department ever working with a quota system, even before the Waldo bill. He says at Longboat Key Police Department, they don't keep track of how many tickets officers give out. Each officer has a certified radar unit in the car for speeders, but we monitor traffic as a routine part of what we do, and if we see a violation, whether it's speeding or whether it's another infraction, we'll stop the vehicle and make the appropriate move, whether it's a citation or a warning. The money generated from tickets given out by his department, Cumming says, goes directly to a state general revenue fund, not back into the department. But that's not the case everywhere.
Smaller municipality, a great deal of their budget can come from traffic tickets.
Greg Arnold, Criminal Justice Program Manager for the State College of Florida Manatee Sarasota campus, spent decades in law enforcement before becoming a professor. He says there is some pressure that exists when it comes to writing tickets.
Sometimes they can be implied to a degree, like, well, how many tickets did you write this week, kind of deal. Says, well, a couple, and that kind of deal.
Arnold says there are in fact other Waldos out there, but not locally in the Sarasota-Bradenton area.
Some agencies really don't want the officers to write tickets, especially smaller sheriff's department, because they're voters. So, you know, you start writing your locals a lot of tickets, then they don't get votes anymore.
In the past, Arnold says officers would have their performance measured by the number of tickets they wrote or even how many arrests they made. But that's not the case anymore. Arnold says the funding from our local agencies does go to the state, not back into the law enforcement budgets.
When you get a ticket now, it's broken into so many factors. A little go here, a little go there, driver improvement, this, that, and the other. But in some ways, they will get back into a city budget, but not into the law enforcement budget.
So if you get pulled over near the end of the month, it seems that it's more of a coincidence, not part of a quota.
Now, every department is different, so Chief Cumming and Professor Arnold cannot speak for every department throughout the state. However, it is illegal in Florida, and departments should not be doing it. Jess Dowdrick, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
So what should we make of all of this? Well, let's pull on over to the side of the trapezoid in a moment.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. They send out devastating letters, garnish paychecks, and even put liens on your home or business. You may have heard of it. It's called enforced compliance. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms and can negotiate a tax settlement with the IRS. It's that simple. And if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars, finally ending your financial stress. Now is the time for a fresh start. Now is the time to call Tax 10,000. 800-699-3188. That's 800-699-3188. Call now.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Welcome back. It appeared to confirm what a lot of folks believe. During certain times every month, it seems like police pull over a lot of cars. Someone you know where their speed traps are. Of course, it's illegal in Florida to have ticket quotas, but a lieutenant colonel in the Florida Highway Patrol was just forced to resign after sending his troopers an email encouraging them to write at least 2 tickets an hour. Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi called it stupid and reckless, but still. Joining us for more is Greg Arnold, Criminal Justice Program Manager at State College of Florida, and Sarasota attorney Jeffrey Haynes, who specializes in helping clients deal with traffic tickets. You know, we were looking up some information, and only Illinois, New Jersey, California, and Florida have laws saying that you can't have ticket quotas, which is probably why so many people believe there are ticket quotas. You know, Jeffrey, in terms of your clients, and you deal with this every single day, you specialize in folks who get tickets. What do they believe? What do you believe?
First of all, everybody, for the most part, believes that there are quotas. It's something that I have dealt with ever since I became an attorney. Personally, I didn't believe in quotas, but then when you see stories like this, or you see like what happened in Waldo, Florida, you start to wonder. So,
you know, Greg, I remember doing a story years ago in Florida, again with a member of the Highway Patrol, where he basically said that you know, he was being forced to give speeding tickets, and he disagreed with department policy. The law has been, you know, made in 2015. And as we just reported, but do you think that what we saw in that leaked email in terms of troopers and other police officers possibly being encouraged to write tickets certain times of the month or at any time, do you think that really does go on?
Well, I can't speak at the state level. I understand in municipalities I spoke of before, the smaller ones, very often the city budget is based upon a lot of it by tickets. We know in Waldo 60% or so came from that. So very often it can be implied, if nothing else. And I've spoke of that before, that they just says, you know, you could write a few more tickets would be helpful, things like that. But I've never seen a department. I've been in a few. I know quite a few from running a police academy and speaking a lot. There's been no formal aspect of it. There's been nothing, of course, written about it, but it can be implied at times if they feel that they're supposed to work traffic and they're not writing tickets.
Can it be taken into consideration, let's say, in a performance review or for a salary increase?
No, absolutely not. It just may be they see that officers are writing X number of tickets per week or per month, and someone hasn't been writing any, and they're wondering, says, well, you know, you've been on patrol, running radar, you know, it could, you know, why aren't you writing a few more tickets? But there's none of the end of the month situation. It's more of a general statement. It can be, but your larger departments really don't encourage it anyway. Again, I'm speaking, there's a lot more smaller cities in Florida than big ones, and that can be implied.
All right, we are just getting warmed up with our conversation. We'll have much more on ticket quotas right after we check First Alert Weather. Stay with us.
Once you get atrial fibrillation, you need to have a very close relationship with your primary doctor. Prevention is the whole ball game here, because once you have a stroke, you can't undo it. A year without stroke, it's a year that you can enjoy doing the things that you've worked all your life to finally get to do. You took care of yourself. You did what is necessary for you to be around one more year. And then next year, we'll celebrate one more year without a stroke.
It's a dangerous habit. Texting and driving kills thousands each year. Join ABC7 and take the No Text Zone pledge.
Hi, I'm Melissa with Venice Toyota, encouraging you to help us keep the Suncoast safe by making the pledge to not text and drive. Save a life, stop by Venice Toyota today and take the pledge to not text and drive, and register to win a $100 gift card to Capitol Grill.
Take the pledge, save a life. Go to mysuncoast.com for more information.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it? Why
is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you know, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back. We'll have more on ticket quotas in a moment, but first let's get a final check on our first alert forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. We're looking at the skies. They're kind of cloudy at times, some showers moving through occasionally, and that's all a result of a low pressure down to our south. A little bit more active for rain down in South Florida. Not as much here, but a brief shower not out of the question through this evening as some strong easterly winds picking up moisture from the Atlantic and carrying it all the way over to the west coast. I mentioned the heavier storms down south near Lake Okeechobee, some lightning strikes there, a little bit of rainfall again pushing into Sarasota County right now. You can see it, so expect a brief shower or two right there near Venice, stretching all the way out toward Palmer Ranch, and then eventually out into the Gulf of Mexico. It shouldn't be around all that long, not causing any flooding problems, but brief periods of moderate to heavy rainfall can be anticipated, at least with this cell, and this one may hold on too. It looks like down toward Port Charlotte and Inglewood within about an hour and a half from now. So a little bit of rainfall, then a drier forecast tomorrow, slightly drier, 20% chance for showers on Wednesday, and then the moisture comes back big time on Thursday with a better chance for storms as we head into the weekend. The evening planner looks like this. Very breezy, windy conditions, winds out of the east anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour. We've had gusts as high as 25 to 30 today. Currently, it's 80 degrees, clouds around, and the dew point 70. With that east wind, the dew point temperatures stay a little more comfortable in the morning. You may have noticed that this morning, a little comfortable out there, and that's again a result of that east and northeasterly wind not coming in from the west, bringing that high humidity in from the Gulf of Mexico. The high today was a couple degrees shy of the average, which is 87, 95, the record set back in 1959, and 2/100ths of an inch of rainfall. That's it at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. Some areas had a little bit more than that as some passing showers move through this afternoon. The hourly forecast calling for a little less chance for rainfall in the afternoon. Highs will still be close to seasonal averages in the upper 80s. The rain chance tomorrow at 20%. A little higher inland counties, say Highlands, DeSoto, and Hardee counties will have about a 30 to 40% chance for a few showers and that strong easterly wind. And there's the forecast calling for that anywhere from 15 to 20 miles an hour overnight and picking up a little bit more so by midday tomorrow. And that's simply because of a low pressure area down to our south and high pressure to the north. Now, in the tropics, I know we're done with the tropics, right? We want to be over with them, but it doesn't officially end until November 30th. We're watching this area right here near the Bahamas, a 10% chance of it developing. I don't think much of that in terms of it developing into anything significant. This one down south, though, a little bit different. I think this becomes our next named storm, and the next name is Nate. It's way down there, a long way to go, but rotation already appears to be there, and it looks like a low pressure area. You can see the last few frames, an explosion of storms, of bright white tops indicating some heavier weather there. Eventually it moves off to the north and northwest in time. This is the European model. We became familiar with that during Irma, and it's showing a tropical storm or depression moving into the Gulf of Mexico on the weekend. And this, at this point, parallel with our coast, is over 300 miles. So we would not experience any kind of big wind here with this. We would get a lot of rainfall, however, even if it was that far off into the Gulf, it looks like. But it's still a lot of changes here that could be made. Could move further west, could be a little bit closer. So we'll watch this very quickly. You see how it kind of took off to the northeast late in the frame there. And that may happen a little earlier, which would put us in direct path of possibly a tropical storm at this point. So we'll watch it. It doesn't appear it's going to be a real big storm, though, in terms of wind. Northeast winds at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be 2 to 4 feet. Unfortunately, a moderate to choppy conditions expected over the upcoming days right through Thursday. Sunrise will be at 7:23, and the low tide, we just had one. Well, passing showers tonight, very brief, but could see a downpour here and there. 74, and then for tomorrow, partly cloudy, 88 for your high, 20% chance for showers, a little bit more so inland. And the extended forecast, well, here it comes. Keep the umbrellas handy. They may blow away. The winds will be so strong on Thursday and Friday. And into the weekend, we'll be watching the tropics very closely. Alan will be back with his guests right after this.
This is an important medical announcement.
Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on a pedal. You get a clean mop head that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Go, bro. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. Yeah, so wet.
Welcome back. Do local law enforcement agencies have ticket quotas? And joining us for more are Greg Arnold, Criminal Justice Program Manager at State College of Florida, and Sarasota attorney Jeffrey Haynes, who specializes in helping clients deal with traffic tickets. As you said earlier, Jeffrey, a lot of your clients come in believing that they are the victims of a quota system.
They do.
So do you, or what if you did, go into a court of law and try to say to a judge, this is what happened?
I can honestly tell you, in the number of years I've been doing this, which is 21 here in the area, never used it as a defense. I've been in traffic court a lot where people represent themselves. I see a lot of people raise that as a defense. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen it work. You see people in court all the time saying, why did he single me out? There were 3 people speeding. Why did he pick on me? You must be at the end of the month. You have a quota. It simply doesn't work. Personally, it's not a defense that I would raise, because knowing the officers, knowing the judges here, I just don't believe it would work.
All right, so what would the judge say back to a defendant in a situation like that?
The judge is going to base the ruling based upon the evidence. If the officer's credible and the person really doesn't have a viable defense, it just isn't going to mean anything. So raising quota as a defense, to be honest with you, is, in my opinion, kind of a waste of time.
Greg, you know, there are probably a fair share of people watching this right now who say that's part of the conspiracy here. Everybody knows that it happens, but it won't acknowledge it.
No, I really do not believe, especially locally in this area, there's no quotas. I have enough ex-students or officers out there, even people with a highway patrol. That's never brought up. It's not even joked about. What I was speaking of earlier dealt with more small municipalities and the Waldos of the state and other states like that. And so I don't see that around here as a problem.
You study this as an issue. If the reason why a lot of communities did have quotas in order to fund the municipal budget, I mean, what did they do to replace that money?
Well, I've never thought about it that way. Some of them become very dependent on it and they'll have to cut services, and it could be they're interesting. Some of them may have 1 or 2 officers and they cut back on that. They'll turn their services over to the sheriff's department because the budget does, you know, money does come out of the city budget to support them.
Of course, is part of the problem here the reality, as I said at the outset, there are only 3 or 4 states that have laws against quotas. So you may go up to Virginia or through Georgia, and it's a far different situation where drivers are being pulled over sometimes at certain times of the month.
Sure. I know I went to school in South Carolina, and it always seemed, in my opinion, that they were very proactive in stopping people, writing tickets. I know I received at least one when I was up there. So at least my dealings with South Carolina, and I'm from Virginia, I think it is more prevalent in other states as far as the tendency to pull people over, probably write more tickets.
So Greg, what kind of impact is there when you have a situation like we just experienced with the Florida Highway Patrol, where you have a lieutenant colonel who is basically forced to retire for writing this kind of memo, and you have the Attorney General calling it stupid and reckless, but this is seen from one end of the state to the other, and it just reinforces the perception out there.
Yes, it does, and it was embarrassing for them, and we saw the fallout from it. And I really do believe the officers just do not believe in a quota system. They're not, just not going to do it. I did say sometimes in smaller departments it can be implied why you don't write as many tickets as another officer in those kind of cases. But locally, the local departments around here, they're going to do traffic enforcement, but they base it upon studies of where there's high accident rates, complaints by other citizens, school zones. They're focusing more on that. The officers are so busy responding to normal calls, they're just not this, well, let me spend a half hour, an hour running police radar or something like that, or catching people and writing up tickets. I don't see that. I would have heard about it if that was true.
So Jeffrey, I would imagine that you could have a situation that motorists are being pulled over at certain locations, whether it's in our area or on the highway, and you come to know that's where the police usually hang out. The problem is, are they pulling folks over there because that's an area where there's a lot of traffic accidents and you want to have heavy enforcement in an area which is more dangerous? Or does it reinforce what so many of your clients believe, is that, that's where the traps are and that's what time of the month it is?
Well, we all know that there are certain areas where the police are more likely to pull you over than others. And I think that that's just strategically, a lot of times based upon the area, knowing that somebody's going to come through the area, they know what the speed limit is. And plus, obviously, some areas have more of a tendency for people to speed than others. I know there's a lot of tickets on interstate in certain areas. We see those over and over again. A lot of tickets here locally. It's all based upon what I believe the police believe to be a good area to catch people. So I don't think it's necessarily quota-based. It's just, from their own experience, it's a good place for them to set up these operations.
Greg, have you dealt with officers over the years who do believe that or they chafe against what they believe is the implied suggestion to write more tickets?
No, we never really talked at it that way. It was more of, that's just not something they will do. I've never had someone, come to me and says, well, I'm really disappointed working in this department because they keep pushing me for these. That has never been brought up really in a conversation. Just a general comment that, no, there's no quota. They say, I'm so busy, I don't really have time to sit out there and try to write up
You're more expert on local law enforcement departments, but is there a huge difference because of what the mission is of a local police department and, let's say, the Florida Highway Patrol?
Well, sure, because they're Florida Highway Patrol, they're traffic enforcement. That's the end of their jurisdiction, the legal jurisdiction. And they're not answering calls to burglaries or anything, like that, or domestics, where your local departments, the students say, my ex-students, and I try to keep up with them and others I talk to, is they have calls stacked up. They're just going from one call to the other. That's why they develop like traffic units so they can concentrate on hot spots, places that seem troublesome for speeding or careless driving and things of that nature. So you don't really see that a lot of them have the opportunity, if they wanted to be writing tickets.
Jeffrey, finally, we only have about 30 seconds left, but after this whole thing came out, did you see any difference in the number of cases coming your way?
I can't say that I have. It seems like the number that I receive is kind of steady throughout. I haven't seen really a spike or any type of change based upon recent events.
All right, we have to take a quick break, but we'll be back with final thoughts right when we return.
If you're only hungry for a slice of apple pie, why buy the whole pie? And you certainly wouldn't want to pay for an all-you-can-eat buffet. So if you don't use your cell phone that much, why get charged for a plan that's too big, or even an unlimited plan? Luckily, there's still a wireless company that shares your values. Welcome to Consumer Cellular. Our average customer pays about $25 a month for everything they need. Many pay even less, as plans start at just $10 a month. You'll get a straightforward bill that's easy to understand, with no surprises, and all the attention you deserve from our friendly customer service team. No wonder Consumer Cellular has received J.D. Power Awards for highest customer service. Plus, if you're an AARP member, you'll receive special discounts. It's easy to switch. You can even keep your phone and your number. So stop paying for more than you need and start your 30-day risk-free trial today. Call 1-800-468-1930. Go online or visit a Target store today.
Attention type 2 diabetics. The FDA warns of an increased risk of amputation associated with certain diabetes medications. If you took the diabetes medications Invokana or Invokamet and then suffered an amputation or one of these other serious injuries, call the Rely On Group right now. If you've suffered amputation or any of these other injuries after taking your diabetes medication, call the Rely On Group today. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-604-1698. That's 800-604-1698.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. So Jeffrey, after seeing the story and all the folks out there who are absolutely convinced that the ticket that they got that they bring to you is because of a quota system, you say what?
Nothing that I say is going to change the minds of a lot of people that believe that there are quotas. Something like this happening just reinforces what a lot of people already believe, which is that there's a quota system out there. Personally, I would love to say that I've seen evidence of it here in Sarasota or Manatee County. I simply haven't. For those people that would like to go to court and argue that as a defense, I wish it would be successful. The reality from my own experience is it will not be.
Greg, you know, the one thing I did notice after this story came out was, you know, and I travel I-75 every single day, and you know, it seemed every few weeks there would be a lot of FHP officers pulling over a lot of cars. I don't see that anymore, which leads me to believe that those troopers have been told something.
There could have been, you know, play nice, you know, just kind of maybe chill out a little bit using that. I don't think there's any, I think things going on may be coincidental or anything, but who knows that they said, let's just take it easy for a little bit here. Who knows if that's implied, but I think things are about the norm and a lot of it's coincidental. It just depends how busy they are working accidents and everything else, you know.
And let us all, you know, they have a tough job out there.
Yes, they do.
And whether it's on our highways or our local roads, you know, people don't drive safely sometimes, and sometimes speed is a big reason.
It is.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. Still more questions than answers in the deadly shooting Sunday night in Las Vegas. 59 people are dead, over 500 are injured, making it the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. Why do more of these mass shootings seem to be happening now in recent years? What can be done to prevent another one? And what do you think? Audrey says it does not seem realistic that the Second Amendment was meant to allow every American citizen to be the legal owner of an arsenal of weapons designed specifically for use in circumstances of outright war. Common sense should prevail. Nick says, I've heard the phrase a lot, but it has stuck with me and I find myself using it more and more. The only protection against bad people with guns are good people with guns, to which Melinda responds saying, the only thing I fear more than the bad guy with a gun is a jerk who thinks he's saving the day and accidentally shoots me instead. And finally, Kim says, too much media coverage. Kim, you might be living with your head buried in the sand. We don't. If you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Amazon TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Greg Arnold is with the Criminal Justice Program Manager at State College of Florida, and Sarasota Attorney Jeffrey Haynes, who specializes in helping clients deal with traffic tickets. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, President Trump makes his first trip to Puerto Rico since Hurricane Maria hit. We'll be right back.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-975-0536. That's 1-800-975-0536.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands. Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
I am powerful beyond my wildest imagination.
I will define my future.
I will keep challenging myself to improve.
Because I am a future leader of this great nation.
I will make a difference in my community.
I will not settle for simply chasing my dreams, I will achieve them.
Because I was given a chance.
An opportunity.
At Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America.
The ultimate leadership experience.
Join us. We'll build a new future together.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's turn to ABC7 business commentator Richard Stern. And Richard, it is October. Traditionally good month, bad month?
Traditionally not good at all. Actually, a lot of people think October is the worst month of the year because of October 1987, October 1929. Actually, it's the second worst month of the year. September historically has been the worst month, and we just finished a very good September.
It seems to me those Octobers that you just cited are when the stock market crashed.
I think you're betting 100 on that. Exactly right.
So it is now October 2017. We hope that does not happen again, but where are we at?
Well, I think what you have to look at is it's so much different this time than where we've seen other things. Interest rates continue to be effectively zero on money market funds. A 10-year Treasury is now paying 2.34%, up from 2.24%. So effectively, the bond market is not an attractive place to go for income or appreciation. So where we are is we're setting records every single day for the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P. And the reason for it is there's a lot of money out there. Now it's a new quarter. There's more money available through pension plans, and there's only one place for it to go.
Is there anything those two stock market crashes had in common or other times in the fall in previous years when the market has slowed down, that one could look at the warning signs in advance and say, even if it's in after the fact, that we could have seen this coming? Or does it, can you have situations like this where you're breaking records one week and then falling off a cliff the next?
Well, let's put it this way. 1929 and 1987 were totally different themselves. 1929 was a function of margin calls. People were very highly leveraged. They only owned a small percentage of something, and when the market went down, they basically didn't have the cash to cover. 1987 was a problem with what became known as computerized trading, and we have put in a lot of regulations since then called circuit breakers. But what happened in 1987 was computers started selling, and as they were selling, other computers said, oh my goodness, the stock's down, we have to sell. There was no human intervention. It was just one sell program after another. And by the time we were done, the market was down 500 points.
But aside from that, were the economies at those times in a fairly good place prior to that happening, just like it is today?
I don't think like it is today because, again, you're looking at such a different picture with interest rates. You're also looking at a much more visible market than probably was the case then. It used to be very selective as to who even was in the market because most people couldn't afford to buy stocks, and if they did own anything, it was through a mutual fund. So I really do think it's different. The parallels between now and 87, 29, I don't think there's a, I don't think you can connect the dots on that.
We have less than a minute left, but where are we at right now? We are past, reporting seasons in terms of earnings. Are the fundamentals of the market still good, including the interest rates, or are there warning signs caused by political upheaval here or there?
Well, politics apparently has not meant anything because, again, we're breaking records every single day. We are now into the very beginning of the fourth quarter. Typically, by October 15th, you're going to start to see third quarter earnings reports. So the answer is, unless those reports are much, much weaker than people expect them to be, then we're going to use those as our next guide, and up goes the market.
Richard, thank you. Richard Stern joins us every other Tuesday to give us an inside scoop on stocks, Wall Street, and more. When we come back, we'll have our primetime headlines, so stay with us.
At Humana, we believe great things are ahead of you when you start with healthy. And part of staying healthy means choosing the right Medicare plan. Humana can help. With Original Medicare, you're covered for hospital stays and doctor office visits when you're sick, but keep in mind you'll have to pay a deductible for each. A Medicare supplement plan can cover your deductibles and coinsurance, but you may pay higher premiums than you do with other plans, and prescription drug coverage isn't included. But with an all-in-one Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you could get all that coverage plus Part D prescription drug benefits, all for an affordable monthly plan premium, and in some areas, no plan premium. It's all described in this free book and DVD. Call for yours and discover how an all-in-one Medicare Advantage plan from Humana could save you money. Call 1-855-395-9803. That's 1-855-395-9803 now.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-817-1064.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
It's rainy season on the Suncoast. Storms can pop up at a moment's notice. Sometimes it's just rain. Sometimes it's much worse. When there's the potential for severe weather, you need to know fast. Trust ABC7 First Alert Weather to get you the information you need right away. We focus on the storms that impact where you live, and we're committed to alerting you with important information as soon as we get it. When severe weather strikes, trust ABC7 First Alert Weather. We're here for you.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump made his first trip to Puerto Rico today, greeting families still struggling from Hurricane Maria and surveying the devastation left behind. The president also took time to praise the federal response amid criticism of his handling of the disaster. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has more.
President Trump in Puerto Rico as consoler-in-chief.
We're going to help you out.
Thank you.
Have a good time.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. This during the president's first trip to the U.S. territory 2 weeks after Hurricane Maria, as one emergency official put it, destroyed the island. So far, power restored to just 7% of the island, and some 2/3 of residents still don't have cell service. President Trump, accompanied by the First Lady, even handing out supplies himself while praising FEMA and emergency responders.
Great job. Great job. And to all of my people.
Directly responding to critics slamming the federal response as inadequate and slow.
This has been a Category 5, which few people have ever even heard of. A Category 5 hitting land, but it hit land, and boy did it hit land.
The White House maintaining federal help has been delivered and continues to stream in with thousands of troops and civilians on the ground, delivering more than 5 million meals and 5 million liters of water. The president, who earlier bashed some members of the Puerto Rican leadership in a barrage of tweets, seemingly making peace on this trip, particularly with the San Juan mayor with this handshake, but again raising eyebrows after scolding local officials on their budget crisis.
I hate to tell you, Puerto Rico, but you've thrown our budget a little out of whack.
Now, during this trip, President Trump did not visit the U.S. Virgin Islands, also ravaged by the hurricane, but the governor of that territory traveled to Puerto Rico to meet with the president. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, Washington.
Former Equifax CEO Richard Smith on Capitol Hill on the hot seat over the company's massive security breach. He apologized for the breach, telling a House committee human error and technology failures are to blame for what happened. The credit monitoring giant says as many as 145.5 million people may be impacted by the breach, which compromised sensitive personal information like social security numbers, addresses, driver's license numbers, and federal and state officials as well as members of Congress are investigating Equifax over its practices, including allegations of insider trading. U.S. officials will be telling Cuba to cut its diplomatic staff in Washington by 2/3. This after the U.S. ordered non-essential diplomats and their families to leave Havana following a mysterious attacks on personnel. The U.S. believes someone has been targeting diplomats, possibly with some type of sonic weapon. Diplomats have complained for months about strange sounds accompanied by symptoms including nausea, headache, and hearing loss. It is believed up to 50 attacks have been carried out. The FBI is investigating. And that's all the time we have this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and have a great night.